Welcome to the EMDC podcast, where you get to know the people, places, and possibilities behind the global EMDC community. We're glad you are watching or listening. I'm your host, Tim Cowley of Expat Media Pro and Global Creatives Collective. My co-host is the founder of EMDC, Steve Ballman. EMDC is a global community of Jesus followers who have been generally meeting together at a conference venue each year. In 2020, we rolled out an online platform for ongoing training and connecting, and with that, a big growth in serving and connecting more people into our network. Through this podcast, we aim to create community and provide encouragement by talking with communication experts who use their particular expertise to more effectively share the gospel in mainly non-Christian regions.
Episodes 11 and 12, recorded on December 4th, 2020, will focus on Ethnoarts. Ethnoarts is all about joining with community artists in working toward a better future, one of justice, peace, joy, physical safety, social continuity, and spiritual wholeness. This participatory process draws on years of experience and insights from ethnomusicology, ethnography of communication, performance studies, participatory community development, and other fields. Our guests today include Dr. Robin Harris, Chair of the Center for Excellence in World Arts at Dallas International University, who also serves as the President of the Global Ethnodoxology Network, and Matt Menger, an arts consultant with SIL, who has worked in Southeast Asia for the past 12 years. Matt has his master's degree in music and is just beginning work on a Ph.D. in World Arts at Dallas International University. We will be continuing our talk from episode 11 as Steve asks about the Arts for a Better Future training.
Can you tell us a little bit about how do you offer this Arts for a Better Future? Obviously with the virus or whatever, maybe virtually now, but is it offered at schools and how do you do it?
It's actually really interesting. We started Arts for a Better Future in 2011 with a large conference of 60 people from 20 nations. And since then, we've taught over 850 people. And I think it's a little over 70 countries, from over 70 countries. And the spread of the workshop has been really interesting. We have a whole cohort of teachers now who can facilitate the course. It's never been taught virtual. It's extremely interactive. So the way it's designed doesn't work, unfortunately, on Zoom.
Uh-huh.
So we've only done it live. And so the venues this year have been down, but we've been on 5 continents teaching Arts for a Better Future. And like I said, now it's in all these languages. We have teachers who can teach it in Spanish and Portuguese and French and English and Russian and Indonesian. So it's been very, very exciting to see the growth of this 5-day workshop. It's a whole lot of fun. Super interactive, and people come away actually having planned a project. So it's just a fantastic course. I'm really excited to have a part of that. And now that we have the Ph.D. program, we actually have now a course at the doctoral level that teaches people how to teach, how to facilitate Arts for a Better Future. So that's pretty exciting too.
Is this something that is kind of modified for an EMDC audience when we come to an EMDC conference?
We have never done it at EMDC. I think it's because it really does take 5 days. It's a 5-day workshop. Doing it much shorter than that, we've tried, and it really doesn't work as well. So we've never done it at EMDC.
Yeah. So
Sorry
Tim, you're probably referring to that we have a training track on arts, art. And Matt was actually planning to co-lead that this last time in Chiang Mai, but so there has to be some of the principles that cross over, whatever, but it's not the whole package. I'm sure that's what Robin is saying.
Yeah.
Yeah, the course itself is a specific thing, and we do lots of other kinds of ethnoarts training that are also great, but ABF, we call it, Arts for a Better Future, is its own special 5-day thing. It's really magical. If
Okay.
anybody's interested, you can go to artsforabetterfuture.org and see the venues. We have regular ones here in Dallas during the end of May, beginning of June. Regular one at All Nations Christian College every year in July, and then all spread around the world at various venues around the world.
So let's repeat that, artsforabetterfuture.org. Is that what you said?
Correct. That's
Great.
right.
Great.
This is very intriguing to me because I knew nothing about this. I'd heard of ethnomusicology before. And Matt, you mentioned it. Are you an ethnomusicologist?
Oh, that's a good question. And that gets a bit sticky academically too, depending on what your degrees are and whether people are happy that you call yourself that or not. So I will call myself an ethnodoxologist.
Okay.
Which, yeah.
So that's kind of a new term. I
Yes.
can kind of figure out what it might mean,
right.
but how would you describe that?
That is, man, Robin, maybe you better do it because I'm sure. Well, it used to be the International Council of Ethnodoxologists and is now the Global Ethnodoxology Network. Do we have a definition? Because if there's an official one, maybe you would be better to say it.
Yeah, I think, we actually just recently developed the new definition, and it's very close to what I mentioned at the very beginning. I was talking about, engaging with God and the world. If you go to the Ethnodoxology website, which is at worldofworship.org, and you can just click on the Learn More page, Learn More button, and it's like an FAQ, and the very first page, the very first question is, what is ethnodoxology? So the official definition, that's the new one, is ethnodoxology is the interdisciplinary study of how Christians in every culture engage with God and the world through their own artistic expressions. So it is very interdisciplinary. It draws from missiology, from ethnomusicology, from the arts, all different disciplines, anthropology. So one of the first courses that Matt will take as a PhD student called Multidisciplinary Perspectives on World Arts, and it's just a very, very interdisciplinary new field of study. So that's ethnology. Focusing more on like Christian context, whereas ethnoarts also can really be used very fruitfully in situations where there is no church, very few Christians. I would say, just a little bit broader. Would you agree with that, Matt?
Yeah. Yeah, I think that sounds good to me. Yeah. And I think there's, if you say ethnomusicology, well, that's music. What about ethnochoreology, which is dance? And then there's dramatology. It's like, well, I think there's even a growing recognition within those academic communities that it's like, well, half the time or more, when people are singing, they're dancing, or when they're dancing, there's music. You're dancing to something. It's like, so how do we in the Western world like to put these things in boxes and say, this is music, this is drama, this is dance. And that's why it's like, well, it's kind of all of those things. So I like the term ethnoarts because it's just, the people's arts, local arts. What do people do? How do they express themselves? Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I get the sense you guys are excited about what you do. And I would love to know if you have seen an evolution or kind of an explosion of people understanding about this, because I feel like we've come a long way in missiology. Are you seeing the same trend of people having the light bulbs go on as they enter into ministry in other cultures?
I really see it all the time because I get to talk with all the people that want to study it. And so often I hear people with the same experience that I had. They say, I'm an artist of this kind or other. I'm a musician or a visual artist, and I want to do missions. And when they figure out that there is a field of study where you can actually do both, you can do arts and mission in culturally appropriate ways, like, you should see their faces light up. It is so great to be in this job, and then to be able to train them so that they can actually do what their dream is with their life. I totally love my job. This is really a fun place to be. And I will also add that I have sensed over the last 10 or 15 years, it's like a wave of something that God is doing in the world, where there's just lots and lots of people and more all the time that are interested in using arts and ministry together. So it's a great time to be alive.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think there's just I guess my involvement is a little shorter. I guess what am I at? 12, 13, 14 years now. So, I missed the beginning edges of this, but I think there's a growing movement towards, as people start to think about not coming with our own stuff. And I don't mean this just in the world of arts, but I mean this in the world of Bible translation, in people making films, people making media products. It seems to me that there is a growing trend that's just snowballing and getting bigger and bigger, of people realizing, okay, I need to, you can't just make one thing, or every situation is different. And what about these local cultures, and what about local needs? And so I think there's a growing recognition that, well, we can't do things the same everywhere, and we can't assume that we as the outsiders have the answers. More and more, there's the global South, and new, people being sent from new places to other places in the world, and new organizations and new churches, and things like that. And there's a recognition that we need to just think a little more broadly about this. I think Ethnoarts is a big part of that, and we kind of fit in with that, of saying, well, we need to be aware of local cultures and local needs, and what people are doing and how they want to do it. Mm-hmm.
Do you have some projects in mind that you think are just wonderful examples that have just been done so well? Or terrible failures? Maybe you can't say those out loud because that might be very embarrassing, but you could generally discuss something that maybe didn't go so well.
I can tell a story. I'll tell a story of something that didn't go well, and I won't name any names. I've told this story before, where the Bible translator had finished the Gospel of John in one language group, and he thought that he would really up the game a little bit and put a little music on there, as it was recorded. Okay, audio recorded. So they finished checking it, and the audio recorded it, so it's just of one voice reading the Gospel of John. But he said, let's get some music on there. And so he did a section of it and put some local music on there, had some recordings in his database, of local music, and he put that on the Gospel of John, and he passed it around, and everybody, and they said, oh, that's good. But, not the, and he could tell that none of them were very sincere about saying that was good. And he finally got his closest local co-worker there, and he said, what is going on? Why is everybody saying this is not good, this is not good? He said, well, it's good, we finished the Gospel of John. Yeah, we audio recorded it, great. He said, and then I put music. And he said, yeah, but it would have been better if you hadn't put funeral music on there. So he had in his database all these recordings, and he hadn't categorized them. He doesn't know what he's doing. He just and then he mixed that onto the gospel, and then they're like, no, that doesn't. It wasn't field driven, and it wasn't their idea, their project. You see, so he superimposed that on there, thinking he was gonna do them a favor.
Mm-hmm.
I'll just add that most of a lot of the failures come down to just those two big things. Is local agency was not involved at all in that, and then lack of training to kind of be able to analyze what's going on. So that's also part, and that's why we do Ethnoarts training, is so that people can really have the tools to understand what they're dealing with, so that those kinds of mistakes don't happen. Also, a lack of relationship. I've also seen some projects that failed just because you come in from the outside, don't know local traditions or local people, kind of do your own thing. Even if it's Ethnoarts, that's not going to be the silver bullet, the magic tool that's just going to fix everything. You actually have to have local relationships with people. Relationships are really important. Then you have to rely on local agency, local ownership.
Yeah. I think where things have not gone well, it tends to be, yes, that silver bullet thing. I think sometimes this goes for lots of media products and Ethnoarts too, feeling like, oh, well, if I understand their musical style or their communication thing, and then I just put our message in that, and then just shoot it out there, well, it's gonna hit the bullseye every time, and everybody's gonna love it, and it's just gonna, everybody's gonna, just totally get what we're trying to communicate to them. It's like, well, that's, the arts and media products as well too. I mean, this happened with apps and things, or build a website. Oh, well, if we just, make an app, then everybody will love it and it's just going to be amazing. It's like, well, an app is a great thing, but just because we put an important message on a phone doesn't make it suddenly more meaningful or communicate well. And the same thing with a song style or a drama or things like that. So usually I think the failures I've seen have been when people feel like there is if we can just figure out the right box to put this message in, we have our message, we just need to understand just enough of this culture in this place to put it in the right box and just shoot it out there, then it's going to work. And where it's worked well has been when there's, Robin, I'm going to basically say the same things as you. It was relationships. It's kind of a long-term investment. It's understanding things. It's local involvement. So it's not, in the early days of ethno arts and things like that, I'll say maybe we've even been on a spectrum over the past maybe 20 something years of people doing ethno arts being maybe a little more hands-on in the process and helping create songs or helping do things, towards now where I would say we're much more hands-off. It's much more about how can I be the catalyst and provide people with everything they need so that they can do the creating. And there's one situation where, I had some people come we did a songwriting workshop, and they said, this is great. And so my part in it later was, they said, we wrote a bunch of songs. We don't know how to make videos. Can you help us with that? I said, sure. But it's like then I had a much smaller role than, I wasn't helping compose the songs. I wasn't, helping quite as hands-on, but was more, I would say, just kind of the catalyst that helped with some of the technical things that they needed help with. But, now, just last month, they've done 3 albums. They're on their 4th. They recorded themselves this time on their own field recorder. And they sent me the recordings because they still aren't confident in editing them yet. It's like, well, hey, if you're recording your own songs, it's not a big leap to say, next time, how about we train you how to edit your own songs? And EMDC Online, put another plug in there for that. There's opportunities to let people do more and more for themselves.
EMDC. Okay, we're going to take a quick break and hear from our sponsor for this episode, and we'll be right back.
I'm Hoiling Poon, and I'm a Ph.D. student in World Arts of DIU. I chose DIU because of people. Robin is one of my big reasons to come here. I would like myself to become like her, who can always encourage people through doing arts together, to learning together. Yeah, actually the teachers and graduates and students in World Arts, they all share the same common quality, that they're a good encourager and they're good friends.
Our program trains students to work with communities, to explore the artistic resources that are found in that community, to work with people to discover their goals for a better future for their community, and then to help foster creativity that is aimed at these goals for their better future.
Dallas International University.
How long has EMDC hosted ethno arts trainings? Do you guys have any idea?
I can remember.
I was at EMDC in 2012. There weren't pre-training tracks that year, I don't think.
No, that was the first year we had any
2016.
tracks. Right. That was the first year we had
2016
any
maybe.
tracks.
Yeah.
The next year. No, after 12 we did it. I remember sitting in the cafeteria in Germany asking the Sauermans would they do it next year. So I think 13 we had them in Chiang Mai.
Okay.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
The Sauermans have been so great about faithfully teaching that so many years.
Yeah.
I was there the year that they were gone in 2017 and really enjoyed EMDC. Wow. I am so glad I had but yeah, the Sauermans have really anchored the teaching and it's been really great. I'm super glad for that.
Mm-hmm.
What's a typical kind of person that would sign up to come to the training at EMDC or even online?
I'm going to answer that a little differently, because I'll say one conversation is that I had with Steve and another colleague, Justin Randolph, was about this 2020 pre-training track that didn't happen because of the pandemic. But we struggled a little bit with low numbers and things. And I'm thinking Ethnoarts is something that anyone doing anything with media, we have something that, well, I don't want to say it just as a salesman, but I truly believe we have something that can help you do what you do better. But I think if people just say, oh, that's those musicians over there and they have their little weird pre-training track, that's all the artists, they go do their thing. It's like, well, that doesn't really fit in with me. I help people do video editing. It's like, well, what does a good video look like in this culture? Might not be the same thing that looks good in the US. The Apple website, that's a great old minimalistic American style website. Well, is that the right kind of website style for India? And Ethnoarts asks those kinds of questions. And so I guess I'm not quite answering your question, but I'm saying who I think should come is most people who are involved in the creation of things, and they're involved in these other things to say, how can what we think and how can what Ethnoarts asks about culture and about the arts and about local expressions of that inform the different activities that other people are doing to help them do that in a more local, more culturally sensitive way, asking better questions about the media that they're creating or the products they're creating, and asking those kinds of questions. So
I totally agree.
We always had trouble getting people to come to the arts part of it. And this year, maybe because we had 18 tracks at the same time, but we've never had anybody be disappointed that they came and they took that training. Right. So we've never had anybody say afterwards, hey, Steve, you said I should come and do this, and now I'm disappointed. No, they're, in fact, once or twice, a couple of years, I think we even said those who pay registration at EMDC wouldn't have to pay at all for Ethnoarts track. That much we wanted people to come to the track. And afterwards they said, yeah, I'll pay you now anyway, and so they were just happy to do it.
Thank you. Yeah. And we so have appreciated that kind of support. I totally agree with Matt. People don't attend the ethno arts training because they think that you have to be an artist. And it's actually totally not true. It's like I was just talking about this at dinner tonight. It's like community development through the arts, and it's not your arts. You don't have to be an artist.
Right.
It just needs to be people that care about transformation, about identity, and about doing things in locally appropriate ways, and really, meeting the needs that a community defines for itself. So please do consider ethnoarts training if you're not an artist of any kind. Don't worry, we promise you. You will learn tools to work with communities, and everybody needs tools to work with communities. So totally agree with Matt on that, and I'm very, very grateful for EMDC's support in popularizing ethno art.
And now that I know what this is, I feel like this should actually be required training.
Yeah.
Yes.
For all of us doing film or audio production cross-culturally. I mean, wow.
We have given them the plenary spot at some of the early EMDCs. They had the plenary spot, just saying this is really important. Of course, as you know, EMDC has diversified to a lot of different domains now. So we're tugged and pulled at what our focus and our main curriculum is, so to say. So it's difficult for us, but we do highlight it when we can. That's for sure.
I feel like it is just critical. I dabble in media things. I enjoy it as a hobby. I enjoy doing a little bit of video editing here and there, and some things like that. Not going to claim that I'm great at it, but I enjoy doing it. But when I think about that with EMDC, with these awesome tracks that max out every year, pre-training for how to do mobile video making, how to do audio, how to make these things, and there's so many people just begging for these skills, and I love that, because it's more and more people have the capability to do that in their context and things. That's awesome. When I think about, like, when I've helped people do some music videos here in Indonesia, and I know what I like, and then I see this music video that they tell me they want, and it's some people singing, and then this extremely slow crossfade to this beautiful landscape that just sits there static for
You're just like
15
cheesy.
seconds.
It's so cheesy.
But everybody loves it. And I realize there is an aesthetic to that, and we have to be aware of that too. When we talk about ethnoarts, if we don't want to just say it's just people's music or their dance or their storytelling, it's like, well, what about their video making aesthetic? What do they like? Because, with YouTube and stuff, we start thinking, oh yeah, there's a standard thing that everybody loves. It's like, well, no, people start to find their local way of expressing their own identity through the way they create videos. And you start getting local things where this is the way they do it. Color schemes on websites. That's one that, like, Kalam Media, another, frequent EMDC partner, is, I've been to some of their trainings, and they're always showing examples of these websites in what I, as an American, would consider just garish, loud colors. But this is a site that's getting, 50,000 views and just it's booming and everybody loves it. It's because it's the right thing for that place. It's the right thing for that audience. And so we've got these new digital arts too, with audio and video and websites and things that we need to be asking those kinds of questions. And so, yeah, I mean, if there was some way to say, hey, can we steal the first day of everybody else's pre-training track or something to be the Ethnoarts Day, or that's never going to happen. But I feel like it is a bit of kind of like background study. It's something that I think is beneficial for people in all kinds of fields to just start asking the right kinds of questions and look at the world with a little bit different eyes as they then go about whatever their particular ministry is.
Yeah.
Well said.
Good. So, Matt, what is it? What are some things that you have enjoyed about EMDC?
Oh, well, I have a little bit of a techie streak to me. So I enjoy, especially, I still have very fond memories of the 2012 EMDC, sitting down, trying to get a rooted Android phone hacked, running a pirate box so we could share media on a server, and sitting down with a couple people till 2 a.m. trying to, do something. And I don't even know how to do that stuff anymore. That's all lost on me. I can't keep up with that. But that does epitomize to me the EMDC it's kind of the startup feel, if that makes sense. There's a lot of energy. Everybody's helping each other out. I just really enjoy being able to meet lots and lots of people who are doing a lot of things, and all that networking and the energy and the kind of just, well, let's just figure it out and make it work, because there's got to be a way to do this. And so just that's a great feel that I hope sticks around in EMDC.
Mm-hmm. How about you, Robin? How many times have you been?
I just have been once. And like I said, I totally loved it. And I think one of the things that just felt so great to me was you do make good relationships. And some of the relationships that I've made at EMDC have lasted since then. I still run across people in my world of ethnoarts. And also, I really just appreciated, I guess us ethnoarts folks sometimes feel like the ugly stepsister. I don't know. There's this constant feeling like people don't get us. And at EMDC have always felt so welcomed. You've been very supportive. And I appreciate the vision that you guys have for including this aspect of media training. And so I have just felt welcomed, and it was a really good experience for me. So I would encourage anybody to go. There's such a huge range of offerings. And some of these topics, all of these topics, but especially there's just some of this training you can really only get at EMDC in this concentrated way. I'm a big fan of education. I'm an educator, and, I would love it if everybody would go get a master's or a PhD, but it's really great to just dip in and learn good things. My husband attended the year after I did. I persuaded him to go. I said, oh, you got to try out this thing. And he's a videographer, and he did the video editing and shooting on cell phones, and then was able to incorporate that into his video class that he teaches here at DIU. So yeah, I love EMDC. I'm a huge fan. Everybody ought to try it.
Wonderful. Yeah. In our last couple of minutes, I wanted to see if just kind of open up the table, open up the floor. If you guys had anything else, any other stories you wanted to share, or anything else that comes to mind.
Let me just say that they've mentioned attending EMDC, and I want to make sure that everybody knows that when we can do it again, we will. But until we can, we will be hosting as many sessions as we can online, and we welcome the arts people to do as many as they want to. So just be in touch.
And is there a place that you guys hang out online where all you guys geek out about ethnoarts?
Well, there is the Global Ethnodoxology Network website. That's one thing. There are forums for members. If you're not a member, join. It's not expensive, and it's a great way to just kind of get plugged in and a great place to ask questions. There, I have to find links. There's several Facebook groups, and there's people all over the world. So I would say just get in touch and say, hey, here's where I am in the world. Here's what I'm doing. And I'm in Indonesia. There's a group of us on Facebook, and we WhatsApp each other and things like that. And there's little small communities. There's one in South America that I believe operates in Spanish, if I remember correctly. And so there are communities all over the place of like-minded people who are working on this. So, yeah.
Probably the hub for that is the Global Ethnodoxology Network, worldofworship.org. And, the regional leaders where now the Gen board is gathering regional leaders into Zoom calls every couple of months and just hearing what's happening around the world as these global leaders are developing their own local not local, but like regional communities of ethno arts people who are doing stuff in all kinds of languages. There's just so much that's happening that's very, very exciting. It's that network is not just North American. It's got a huge number of people from all around the world who are really helping to lead that movement. So yeah, check out the website. You can write to me at arts@diu.edu. And I can send you links to all kinds of fun stuff to look at. And Matt helps to run the YouTube site for that organization. So if you go to that webpage and just click on the YouTube, you can see all kinds of videos and stuff like that. So thanks for your work on that, Matt.
Oh, thanks.
I have some exploring to do, it sounds like. That's exciting. What kind of videos do you have on there?
Oh, there are some that are some videos, I believe, from some ABFs. There's some from around the world. We're always working on getting more. Because I was going to say that, I'm trying to think that it's been a little while since we put a new one up there, but we've got some in, there's a couple, there were ABF videos. Robin, the title is escaping me. What's the one we just did in like 4 or 5 languages?
Yes, that's the one that tells about the creating local arts together process. We've got it in English,
Yes.
Spanish, and Portuguese, maybe French. Not sure about
I believe
that.
French too.
Yeah. So yeah, there are a lot of there are a lot of good resources there. Yeah. And especially go to the Learn More button, because the Learn More button has that FAQ, just all kinds of links of how to explain ethnodoxology, ethnoarts to other people. That's a real handy link.
Yeah, I feel like there's something to benefit everybody, and not everyone needs to become an ethnoarts person. We don't need to recruit the whole world to, leave your current role and become an ethnoarts person. But I think there is something that everyone can benefit from just dabbling a little bit, starting to explore a little bit. Whatever country you're in, I guarantee you there's some ethnoarts people there working. And so if you can collaborate with them a little bit and they can help you explore a little bit more about some local styles or some things and help you ask a few questions and get you in touch with the artistic community, I think there's a lot of benefit there for everybody. So I would really encourage everybody to just get involved, attend a pre-training or attend an ABF if there's one in your area. There's probably going to be some EMDC online sessions. Justin Randolph and I did one a while back, and there's another one in the spring. And I'm sure there's going to be more after that. Probably every couple of months, we'll try to have something with Ethnoarts, and get in touch with the community, get involved in the network, just so you can reach out and get the help you need when you need it.
Fantastic. Well, this has been really enlightening for me. So I actually am going to go sign up for an EMDC online class when I see Ethnoarts pop up.
Well, thank you guys for being on here. I really hope that anyone who watches this, listens to this, understands that the M in EMDC has always been about media, but part of media is the arts too, is really how you do that media. And don't think that it's a technical group of people, that we really want to honor the arts and the agency, as people have been saying several times in here, that somehow to encourage all of the people that that hear this podcast, or to somehow learn that they should really highly value the input of the local people. And that's what I think Ethnoarts does, even more than the fact that it's arts, as it were. It just teaches you how to do that, how to listen and give them the place that they should have in those decisions. And I think that's the reason that I've always had such a high regard for it.
All right. So thank you so much, Robin and Matt, for joining us today. It was a pleasure to meet you virtually face-to-face, and I know we will meet up in person at a future healthy date for all of us.
Great. Yeah, it's true.
Looking forward to that very much.
All right.
Yes.
Yeah. All right.
Thanks,
Take
Tim.
care.
Thanks, folks.
We'll see you guys later.
Yeah.
You've been listening to Dr. Robin Harris and Matt Menger discussing themes surrounding ethnoarts. Our next 2 episodes will head back into the more technical world as we look at scripture engagement apps with topical experts. Thanks for tuning in to the EMDC podcast. Feel free to share it in public forums with those you think will find interest in our topics. If you have any comments, do reach out by emailing podcast@emdc.live. Head over to emdc.info to learn about our upcoming online trainings, read our blog, find resources, or learn about our physical conferences. Original theme music is created by our very own Schwartz Gray Band.